You're watching Just the News. I'm Amita Balachandra. We start off today's bulletin with Sri Lanka economic crisis. Sri Lanka's cabinet ministers resigned with immediate effect late on Sunday night as the country experiences its worst ever economic crisis. There's fuel shortage, essentials shortage, but the resignations happened without the president and the prime minister. Now, widespread public protests have taken place in Sri Lanka over the last couple of days, especially on Sunday evening, despite a curfew that had been imposed till Monday. Now, that curfew was lifted on Monday morning. The enraged public has been demanding that the president of Sri Lanka resign immediately. Now, the government declared a state of emergency after an angry mob surrounded the private residence of Rajapaksa on the 31st of March. Meanwhile, post this development, President Rajapaksa invited all political parties represented in the parliament to accept ministerial portfolios to help find a way out of the country's worst ever economic crisis. The president also announced at least 4 new ministers, including firing his brother and finance minister Basil Rajapaksa from his post. In the meantime, there was also news coming in that Sri Lanka's Colombo stock exchange today said that it has halted trading of shares for 30 minutes due to sharp fall in the benchmark share price index. Sri Lankan Central Bank governor has also resigned. Now, protests in Sri Lanka continue because the main demand is resignation of the president. People are carrying cards with slogans like "Go home, Gota" and "Rajapaksa resign," and asserted that they are not extremists. Now, there have been long queues at gas stations as well over the last couple of days. There have been as the security personnel continue to guard fuel stations to avoid violence. There were sporadic reports of violence reported at these gas stations earlier as well. Sri Lanka has been facing severe shortage of fuel and electricity because there was a 13-hour power blackout that the power minister had also said would happen. They shut off street lights as well to conserve power. There's also shortage of food, among other essential items. We're going to continue to track this story every day and bring you the latest, but we'll also take a look at what else is happening in the country. Our top story is that fuel prices have risen for the 12th time in 2 weeks. Now, petrol and diesel prices have seen a rise of over 8.40 rupees per litre in the matter of 2 weeks. Now, today it's been hiked by over 40 paise per litre. In Delhi, petrol costs 103.81 rupees per litre. In Mumbai, petrol costs 118.83 rupees per litre. In Chennai, petrol costs about 109.34 rupees per litre. In Kolkata, petrol costs about 113.45 rupees per litre. There you have it, the chart there. In Mumbai, diesel has crossed the 100 rupee mark. In Delhi, it's about 95 rupees per litre. In Chennai, it's closing in on the 100 rupee mark. Now, in the meantime, Rajya Sabha was adjourned today as opposition kept up protests over fuel price rise. Moving away from the story on to updates on COVID right now, the National Technical Advisory Group on Immunization has recommended Serum Institute of India's Covovax for the 12 plus age group. Now, Covovax is the 4th COVID vaccine authorized for administration for people who are aged above 12. Meanwhile, following several states such as Maharashtra, Delhi, West Bengal, Haryana has now withdrawn its mask mandate as well. Now, no penalty shall be imposed on people for not wearing masks. Earlier, the fine for this was 500 rupees. The government has now, however, urged citizens to continue following COVID-appropriate behavior. Moving on now, an update on the hijab row in the state of Karnataka. School and college teachers who wear hijab have been taken off SSLC and PU examination duty. Now, this was reported by the Times of India, where Education Minister B.C. Nagesh told the Times of India, and I quote, "As hijab is not allowed inside the examination hall for students, hence to be morally right, We are not forcing teachers who insist on hijab to take up exam duty. Such teachers are relieved from exam duty." End quote. Meanwhile, in Delhi, South Delhi Municipal Corporation has said that meat shops in Delhi should be shut during Navratri. NDTV has reported this, where Mayor Mukesh Suryan has said that the religious beliefs and sentiments of devotees are also affected when they come across meat shops on their daily visits to the temple, and hence meat shops should be shut during Navratri. An update now in the Lakhimpur Kheri case. The Supreme Court has reserved an order in a plea by the victims' families challenging the cancellation of bail of the prime accused Ashish Mishra. Now, the UP government has told Supreme Court that while the alleged offences are serious, the accused is not at flight risk. Now, they've also assured that all witnesses in the case have been provided proper security. Appearing for the petitioner, senior advocate Dushyant Dave has said that the Allahabad High Court had completely ignored the charge sheet and had only relied on the first information report of FIR while granting bail to Ashish Mishra. Now, Ashish Mishra is the prime accused in the case, and he's the son of Union Minister Ajay Mishra. He was arrested in October last year because in October, 8 people, including 4 farmers, died in the Lakhimpur Kheri violence. Also in the news, Yati Narsinghanand, who was arrested in the Haridwar hate speech case, has now delivered yet another controversial speech. Now, he has urged Hindus to pick up arms, claiming that they face the threat of conversion and violence if, and I'm quoting him, a Muslim is made a prime minister, end quote. Now, the event was organized by Preet Singh, founder of the Save India Foundation, and one of the organizers at the event held at Jantar Mantar last year, where anti-Muslim slogans were also raised. According to the Indian Express, following this, the Delhi police have said that an FIR has been lodged over the inflammatory speeches made by Yati Narsinghanand and Preet Singh. So an FIR has been lodged against both of them. Also, a shocker that's come in, a textbook for sociology for nurses has listed merits of dowry system. One of the point, in fact, states, and this was shared widely on social media, the point states, and I quote, "Ugly girls can be married off with attractive dowry with well or ugly looking boys," end quote. Now, another point says that, and I quote, "Dowry is helpful in establishing new household with furniture, appliances such as refrigerators and vehicles," end quote. Now, several social media users condemned this, including Shiv Sena MP Priyanka Chaturvedi, who took to Twitter to say, and I quote, "A textbook elaborating the merits of dowry can actually exist in our curriculum is a shame for the nation and its constitution," end quote. Now, in a response, and this is according to IANS, which has said that the publishers have said that they will delete the offensive sections in their future editions of the same textbook. Meanwhile, in Andhra Pradesh, the state has got a new map with a creation of 13 new districts, taking the total number of districts in the state to 26. Now, Chief Minister Y.S. Jagan Mohan Reddy launched 13 new districts via video conferencing. News coming in from Srinagar. A paramilitary personnel was killed and another injured in a shoot-and-run militant attack in the heart of Srinagar this afternoon. In the meantime, a day after 2 migrant workers were shot in South Kashmir, 2 more non-local labourers have been fired at by suspected militants in Pulwama. Since mid-March, there have been 4 instances of militant attacks on migrant labourers in Kashmir's Pulwama district. Meanwhile, in Uttar Pradesh, an IIT graduate, Ahmed Murtaza Abbasi, attacked 2 policemen with a sharp weapon outside the Gorakhnath temple in Uttar Pradesh and tried to break into the temple while raising religious slogans last evening. Now, he was then overpowered by a crowd. Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath is the head priest of that temple. The motive, however, is not yet known. According to NDTV, the UP police has said that terror attack is not ruled out. On to business news right now. A report by CMIE, Center for Monitoring of Indian Economy has come up with the latest report, which says that the country's unemployment rate is actually decreasing when compared to the data that was shared before. Now, in February 2022, it was at 8.10%. That's come down now to 7.6%. Now, according to the latest data, Chhattisgarh has registered the lowest unemployment rate at 0.6% this March. The state government has released this data, quoting, of course, the CMIE. The report also goes on to say that Haryana has the highest unemployment rate at 26.7%, followed by Rajasthan and Jammu and Kashmir at 25% each, and Jharkhand at 14.5%. On to international news, first focusing on Russia-Ukraine crisis. A shocking incident. Satellite images showed a 14-meter-long trench dug into the grounds of a church in Ukraine's Bucha, where a mass grave has been found. Now, Ukrainian president visited Bucha today, and his government has said that 50 of around 300 bodies found in the village northwest of Kyiv city were victims of extrajudicial killings by Russian troops. On the contrary, Russia has refuted the claims and said that the alleged crimes by its troops in Bucha were a provocation and no resident suffered. Now, world leaders across the globe have condemned this particular incident. In the meantime, explosions were heard in the cities of Kherson and Odisha as well. Now, Russia plans to end its ban on flights to and from 52 countries after April 9th, as Moscow continues to lift its COVID restrictions, and this has been reported by the TASS news agency. Now, Russia plans to resume flights to and from Argentina, South Africa, and other friendly countries. Also in the news, a lot of developments coming in from Pakistan as well. Pakistani leader Imran Khan has nominated former Chief Justice Gulzar Ahmed for the office of caretaker Prime Minister. Now, after the dismissal of the no trust vote against Khan, he asked the people of Pakistan to get ready for elections. The Pakistan government on Sunday, however, issued a notification announcing that Imran Khan no longer holds the position of Prime Minister of the country. Now, no Pakistani Prime Minister has ever completed a full 5-year term in office. Post the Supreme Court Chief Justice, after taking suo motu cognizance of the political situation in the country, said that all orders and actions initiated by the Prime Minister and the President regarding the dissolution of the National Assembly will be subject to the court's order, as he adjourned for one day the hearing of the high-profile case. One piece of good news that's coming in. India has recorded less than 1,000 new COVID cases for the first time in 715 days, and this even as COVID restrictions have been eased across the country. Several states are now lifting mask mandate as well, although asking people to follow COVID appropriate behavior. But this is the first time since April 18th, 2020, when 991 cases were reported. The active case count comprises of 0.03% of the total infections, while the national COVID recovery rate has remained at 98.76%. That brings us to the end of this bulletin. Thank you so much for watching. Good night.